wanted to put together a video just with my experience regarding sitting when you work for long periods of time, like as colorists or editors, visual effects people. It's a big problem in our job because we sit with clients for several hours at a go, often without even standing up. And part of the problem is the length of time, and you're just stuck in one posture so that your joints get tired, muscles get sore. That's the one issue, but the actual posture itself, there are better ways to sit. So I wanted to just put down an accumulation of ideas on this topic. Obviously I'm not a medical professional, so just take this as my experience and maybe it can benefit you in some way. My memory of whether sitting or standing, when I was young, I was always told to sit up straight or stand up straight, don't slouch. But that process always felt like in your slouch position, you're told to sit up straight, and it's like you're forcing your muscles to push you up straight. And you can hold it for a while, but then after time, you get tired and then you slouch back again. So it always felt like it wasn't the most natural thing. So the first point is to change your way of thinking about what up straight is. Sitting up or standing up straight is, that should be the most efficient place, is to have your weight and your body structurally centered. So that's the first change that you've got to make. And also you've just got to pay attention to how your body feels and where the strain is building up, and then obviously remedy it as it occurs. Something to bear in mind is that firstly, so you change the way you think about sitting up straight, and then just a little bit of knowledge of how the body is structured can help as well. So if you just think of the body as several layers, so it's got skin, beneath that is subcutaneous fat, connective tissue, onto a fascia, which is kind of a sac which contains the muscles and everything. And the muscle itself has a sac around it, and then fibers inside, and then tendons, bones, and just working inwards layer by layer inside the body. And typically, whether it's due to habits of the way we use force in our body or through some sudden movement, these layers can get misaligned. And the way I've had explained to me before is that in a certain part of your body, it can be that a particular layer or all the layers are pulled one way in one area and another way in the other. So it's a kind of a snag. And then with the physiotherapist or whoever is dealing with it, what they've got to do is they've got to loosen up, they've got to let those layers relax, and they all straighten out, and that's we get back to our comfortable posture after an injury. So if you think of your body as these sequential layers of various tissue, and the ideal structure is to put your force on the center, obviously. So ideally the outer layers should relax. I'll talk more about that in a bit. So if we just start from basic standing posture, some guidelines. One big problem is if the feet go out. Because if the feet go out, then the pelvis slides forward, and then you get this typical belly out, arched back, and then you get a counter arch here. It's just all terrible. So the first thing to do is check that your feet are parallel, and it's actually your toes should be parallel. So some people make the inside of the inner surfaces of their feet parallel, but your toes are still actually outward. So I'd advise you can actually make the outer surfaces of your feet parallel, and that's something closer to getting your toes actually parallel going forward. And you'll feel that once that happens, the rotation here, the stomach just can't naturally flow forward. So the belly area is contained back directly above your center, and you can just draw this in ever so slightly, just gently, no excessive use of force. Chest, chin slightly back, and then basically what is the crown of the head here on the line of the eardrums, that shouldn't be too far forward. It should be basically on the center of your shoulders. And if we take the midline of the body as not exactly halfway through, it's actually take it as the dorsal surface of the spine. If you take that roughly as the midline of the body, from the base here to the top of the head, that midline. And if you want to get into the specifics of it, where the weight sits in the foot is we've got 3 points. We've got the heel, we've got the ball of the foot, and we've got this outer place. It's basically that you want to average the weight between those 3 places. So kind of there. That's where the weight, the structural force should act down on your feet when you're standing. So the feet parallel, stomach in. And this whole stomach surface, chest, can just relax in and settle down. No, it's very bad for your posture to do this. So just settle that in, and that should hopefully get you pretty much up straight. Now, the key point is at this point, once you feel you're structurally on your center, you want to just relax down completely. Just let your body settle completely down. And then you'll find that once all those imbalances in the body, and what I mean by imbalances, if I'm leaning this way, then obviously all these muscles need to tense. If I'm leaning this way, so on those outer curves in a non-upright posture, those tensions can, by returning to center, all those unnecessary outer surfaces or outer muscle can relax, put the structural force on the center of the limbs, the center of the torso, the center of the legs, and you can stand up straight. And you'll find that your posture becomes a bit of a cycle. So it's like the outer surfaces relax down to the center, and then you can stand up straight again. So it's not just you pushing yourself upwards like that. It's more like it's a cycle that you can keep repeating. So if you feel like, oh, I'm a bit imbalanced, I settle down again, and then I stand up again. You know, I just outer surfaces relax down, and then the center is, you know, where you're structurally most efficient, balanced, and you can stay upright for longer. So if we take that into the sitting, you know, you've got to make sure that you're sitting on the right areas. It's so easy to be sitting on your thighs, these 2 areas to make contact, and an actual point that's supposed to be carrying the weight of your torso. It is basically the 2 under parts of the pelvis. I'm actually sure what that part of the pelvis is called. But anyway, you should be sitting on those. The key thing is the pelvis itself shouldn't be rolled forward, shouldn't be rolled backwards, ideally up straight. And then in terms of the legs, it's the first sign that the body is skewed off to the one side, as if you're starting to do this with your leg. So a typical habit is people roll their feet over like that, or 1 foot's over, 1 foot there. That will just draw you. It's putting extra strain on your pelvis. It makes this area, if this isn't upright, then the rest of the body cannot be upright. So when you sit, always make sure that your feet are flat on the floor. And it's just like the weight of this section acts straight down. This is horizontal, and then the weight of this section here. So if you start getting nervous at work, or you're working fast, you start tucking your legs under, and you find that the weight of the leg is now being suspended on your pelvis, and your whole body is getting tugged forward. So just let the weight of the leg sit and rest on the feet, and let the weight of your torso sit here. And the same guideline applies. It's just make sure you're upright on the center, relax down, and then you'll find that the center line is much easier to stay on. Not rolling the feet over, not hooking them under, and then obviously with a bit of you basically just need support up to here. You don't need support through this area of the back. You just, as long as this pelvis is upright, then the rest should be good. And then it's all the usual stuff, like make sure the monitor's not at a terrible height, just at a comfortable height for you. Obviously it's a battle between you and the clients if they're sitting behind you, but nonetheless roughly at that height. And just use your whole body to go side to side. You know, just too much of just the neck would also be, you know, if you can swivel in your chair, the whole thing. Regarding the elbows, generally the elbow should just hang straight down. Relaxed in the shoulder here, this relaxed, elbow straight down. That's going to put all sorts of strain onto your body there. And as much as possible, just try and keep that kind of posture. And then you can move. If you need to just reset a bit, wiggle a bit, just keep nice and what do you do when you actually do get injured, or you sore from a long day's work, been working 5 hours straight, get home and you can't sleep, your body's just tight. One exercise that I'd recommend is it's an exercise called Ping Shui Gong. It's basically it's what grannies and grandpas do in the park. So it's nothing too complex about it. It's really, you can basically learn it in 1 minute. It's a swinging of the arms backwards and forwards, and the arms should be totally relaxed, like they're just pieces of rope, and they're just swinging backwards and forwards, totally evenly. And through this process of swinging, the body is slightly turned inwards this way, slightly turned in that way, and you'll find that all the tension through the neck, the back, in these areas just gradually can dissolve, and the tension accumulated in here will slowly relax. So the way it's done is basically going to swing the arms up and let them swing back comfortably as far as they'll go. So if it's just the arms, it's basically that kind of movement. Make sure that the chin's pulled in back and go forward. With the chest here, just relax and make sure that the toes of the feet are parallel, and that you're standing on the right place. Your weight isn't too far forward or too far back. Swinging the arms, and then you can change it however you like, but roughly every 5 times, what you're going to do is, as the hands get to their tip, you're going to sink down, and this will accelerate the hand backwards. Then you're going to stand up and accelerate the hand forward. So what it looks like, it's a bit like a skiing motion or something like that. 3, 4, 5, and then down and up. And you could literally do it every second time if you felt like it. And you'll find that it's almost like body movement accelerates the hands, so that you don't need to actually be using your shoulder muscles to lift the arms. And roughly half an hour or less of this should get you relaxed again, and and then you can sleep, you can do whatever you need to do. Sinking in like that. You find it has the hand, because of the swinging, gets blood flow back to the hands, from whatever's been blocked, opens up the shoulders, and it's a good kind of remedy for these long hours of sitting. Hope that helps.